Alrighty, friends. We are going to read a story called What? Cried Granny. And during the story, we're going to listen out for 3 words. Restful, almost, and collected. And then after the story, we're going to talk about what those words mean. If you look at the cover of the book, what do you see? What kind of clues do you see about the story?
We see a little boy.
A little boy, and who might this be?
A cry
granny.
The cry granny.
Yeah, the granny who cried. What? Let's see what all the fuss was about. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Patrick who was having his first sleepover at his granny's house. As the sun began to set, Granny said, "Patrick, dear boy, it will be dark soon. Time to get ready for bed." "But Granny," said Patrick, "I don't have a bed here." "What?" cried Granny. She ran out to her yard where some tall trees were growing and she chopped one of them down. What do you think she's going to do with the tree?
Make a bed.
She might use it to make a bed. She carried it to her workroom, opened her toolbox, and made Patrick a fine bed. Then she painted it a restful, that's one of our words, shade of blue, put a comfy red mattress on it, and took it to the bedroom. "There you are, dear boy," said Granny. "Now climb into bed, lay your head on the pillow, and sail off into dreamland." "But Granny," said Patrick, "I don't have a pillow here." What do you think Granny said? "What?" cried Granny. She ran out to her hen house, woke up the chickens, and collected, there's another one, a big batch of feathers. What is she going to do with those feathers?
Make a pillow.
She might use it to make a pillow. She took them to her sewing room where she made a bag out of cloth. Then she stuffed it with those feathers, sewed it up neatly, and gave it to Patrick. "There you are, dear boy," said Granny. "Now climb into bed, lay your head on your pillow, tuck the blanket under your chin, and I'll kiss you goodnight." "But Granny," said Patrick, what do you think he's missing now?
A blanket.
A blanket. He says, "I don't have a blanket here." And what did Granny say? "What?" cried his granny. She ran outside again and headed for the hills where a flock of big sheep were snoozing. She sheared off some of their wool and ran right back home. What is she going to do with that wool?
Make it into a blanket.
Yeah, she's going to spin it into yarn to make a blanket. She took the wool to her basement, spun it into yarn, knitted a fuzzy warm blanket, and dyed it the prettiest shade of twilight purple. When it was dry, she carried it upstairs and spread it across the bed. "Now, dear boy," said Granny, "climb up into your bed, lay your head on the pillow, tuck your blankie under your chin, give your teddy bear a hug, and turn out the light." "But Granny," said Patrick,
I'm missing a pillow.
"I don't have a what?" "A teddy bear here." "What?" cried Granny. She grabbed her emergency sewing kit, tore down the living room curtains, cut, sewed, stuffed, and added button eyes and a red ribbon, and made a teddy bear for Patrick. "That is huge." "Now, Patrick," cried Granny, "climb into bed, lay your head onto the pillow, tuck your blanket under your chin, give your teddy bear a hug, and go to sleep." "But Granny," said Patrick,
I'm missing now.
"it's morning." "What?" cried Granny. They spent all that time